Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. We have Dave on Narset Parade, ignore the typo there, versus Justin on Shops. Justin, fairly traditional Shops build as of the date of this tournament. This Narset Parade, a 4 Narset build, really looking to position itself well versus the Paradoxical Outcome decks, the blue decks that are going to be drawing lots of cards. Try and punish the cantrips. Cards like Preordain. Ponder is restricted, as is Brainstorm. But there are a bunch of ways of drawing extra cards in Vintage, and Narset looks to put an end to most of that fun. A Mishra's Workshop and a Sapphire powering out a Traxos card from Dominaria. Looks like we've got some proxies here: Sapphire, Pearl, and Lotus, Sapphire, Pearl. All right, and Sensei's Divining Top and Narset coming down. That grabs a Paradoxical Outcome. And preordaining yet extra card in hand now. Ruby finally making the land drop. Dave will be able to spin top. Narset may not be around for very long. Evoker entering the battlefield. Will name either Narset or Sensei's Divining Top. Dave going to have a decision to make here. No, he actually chooses to cut off the mana. I would have anticipated Sensei's Divining Top. I guess the Paradoxical Outcome more of a concern to him right now. And just going face with this Traxos. Looking to turn it into a 2-turn situation. Steel Overseer, untapping it. During Justin's end step. Dave spinning top again. Sees some counter magic. Narset very, very solid with Sensei's top. Clearing out those dead cards on the top of the library. Ooh, and Hercule's Recall. Card potentially very punishing here. Justin may need to swing, force out this Hercules. There may not be much in the way of playing through it. That'll give Dave a very powerful turn. Some nice synergy here in between Dave's permanence and Paradoxical Outcome, being able to pick up Narset and reset her counters. Also with Sensei's Divining Top, being able to tap top to draw, and then Paradoxical Outcome in response nets you an additional card. So even though he only has 2 Moxes in play, and potentially be drawing 5 cards off of his Paradoxical Outcome. Walking Ballista. Walking Ballista comes down. It is unclear what Dave's life total is there. I believe if he was taking 8 and 3, 11, that Walking Ballista actually ending it there. I believe Dave was actually at 2 when that Ballista hit, unable to find a counter spell. And Justin stealing one. Looked like he was going to be in very good shape with an untap step. but died with a Hercules Recall in hand. Not how you want to go down versus Shops, but that is why we play 3 games. There's an awful lot of life to take or lose due to the Steel Overseer adding additional counters. It'd been better to just Hercules and potentially draw 5 or more cards on your next turn. Yeah, Traxo's an interesting printing. He does untap very easily in a deck full of artifacts, so the drawback probably at its absolute minimum in vintage Shops. But I have played some games against it where it was not able to untap. Not ideal. And I haven't even played against it that much. Mostly just playing about once a month here at the ELD Vintage Opens if it's a small enough turnout that I can get away with it. One of them we had big enough turnout that I wasn't able to play. This past one, I think we had 11 or 13. It was an odd number of people. Preordained from Dave. Passing the turn. Preordained does a lot of work in smoothing things out. Workshops not really able to punish it as much as they were in the past. Foundry Inspector now. Mox Pearl and a Sapphire with Lotus still untapped. Passing, and Justin is going to have 7 mana on his turn to do what he wants. Dave, on the other hand, playing underneath a sphere, which he uses his 2 mana to cast Soul Ring and then get out Mox Sapphire and Black Lotus. So he also has a ton of mana here. Mishra's Factory to Arcbound Ravager. 1 floating off of the Ravager. And Justin opting just to get in for 3. Perhaps recognizing that things could get pretty complicated. Dave not locked out at all here. Another land making it even worse. And now Merchant Scroll. Grabbing Hercules Recall. Was possible for Justin to sacrifice some of his permanents to push through extra damage. He could have even sacrificed some artifacts, put it onto Ravager, sacrifice Ravager, put it onto Foundry Inspector. But he was correct to assume that things were going to get a little difficult with his opponent having so much mana. Hangerback, Walker. And at this point, I believe Justin representing lethal damage here, so the Hercules Recall may be played during his end step. And it is. Hercules all of these artifacts back to his hand. May have to do a little discarding. Particularly punishing to lose your land drop there. Mishra's Factory, a artifact creature. So that goes away with this Hercules as well. Pretty rough. Sets you back a land drop. Makes rebuilding that much harder. Dave now knows all the cards in Justin's hand. And Paradoxical Outcome begins by drawing 3, earning 3 permanents. We have yet to see a victory condition from Dave. It may be Tendrils. Maybe just getting Vault Key and beating down with some creatures. Let's see what flavor he decided to go with as he starts drawing through his deck. Paradoxical Outcome number 1 already in the books. Does he have another to go along with it? Right now you'd hope to see a lot more artifacts entering the battlefield. Each additional Mox you draw gives you extra steam. Mox Opal very good in the deck as well. Now Lotus being sacrificed for Soul Ring. 2 mana floating. Mana Vault. Dave prioritizing his blue mana. And a third Paradoxical Outcome. Again, only 3 permanents, which is really not the best. He's got mana for a 4th. Just a remarkable lack of Mox Opals and other Moxes. I haven't drawn so many cards, but he does have Mana Vault for his trouble. Narset digs a little further. Now Foundry Inspector gets dazed. That is not something that Justin saw coming. Dazed not typically played in Vintage. Much more of a legacy staple than it is a Vintage staple. But it has been played from time to time. And absolutely punished there. Could have let out with his a Mox. Instead, his Foundry Inspector getting dazed. Now we've got Arcbound Ravager and Sphere Resistance. Dave digging through time. Incredibly powerful card. Also not stopped by Narset, making it even stronger. Justin representing at least the potential for 5 damage here with the Arcbound Ravager. Probably not going to move all in on it. I have absolutely no idea what that proxy is. Let's see. 4 mana, is that? One of the traps of proxy Vintage. I destroyed all artifacts on Justin's side. There are a number of red cards that do that. So most of them destroy all artifacts. Perhaps it's an overload card. Probably an overload destroy artifact card. Ponder now for Dave. Sorceress, Spyglass. Not enough to really move the ball forward here for Justin. He needs some bodies. And now he has a Revoker. Name's Mana Vault. Trying to deny Dave a little bit of mana, but I mean, he has so much. Naming Mana Vault, the difference in between, what is this? 8 and 11 mana. Now, Shattering Spree replicated, leaving Justin with just his Workshop in play. Still haven't seen a win condition from Dave, I don't believe. He's certainly pretty far ahead, though his life total is low. We did see him KO'd by a Walking Ballista from 2 last time, so And now this Paradoxical Outcome, you got to imagine this one's going to be lethal. Five cards. And now we're seeing some moxes. This floating mana, replaying Mana Vault and Soul Ring. So much mana here. What will he do with it? Oh, and Snapcaster. Well, we found a win condition, and Paradoxical Outcome is going to go around for a fifth time. And Justin actually scooping it up there, hoping to get game 3. That was a very long game, too. So we did see Snapcaster. I mean, is that how Dave is actually planning on winning this matchup? If so, it's going to be very difficult. Even getting a commanding lead is going to be very difficult to stop a card like Walking Ballista from coming down. It is possible that Justin may have Cavern of Souls, make constructs just completely uncounterable. Though Arcbound Ravager actually is a beast, which doesn't make any sense to me. That card does not look like a beast at all. That looks like a construct. As printed, it doesn't even have a creature type. And when they updated later, they went with beast, which almost seems like a clerical error. They did give a new, I think, dog version of it most recently. All right, let's see if this is actually kind of an interesting tournament situation too. Depending on the time, we don't have it running, but it's not entirely clear that Dave's deck could win in time. I'm not sure if Justin kind of made the optimal tournament decision and not forcing Dave to play it out. Now, maybe he did draw tendrils or something that we didn't get to see, but if that was going to be 10 turns of trying to beat down with Snapcaster Mage, that time off the clock might actually benefit Justin. Put him in a situation where he can win the game in the given time period, but Dave's deck might be incapable of doing it. We'll see. I'd like to think he has a tendrils or something in there. We've got a Mox Jet into Soul Ring and Mana Vault here, so no blue mana yet for Dave. Lotus, and these guys have had just a crazy amount of mana. Revoker coming down off Ancient Tomb, going with Mana Vault. Mana Vault kind of one-time use. In theory, in practice, you get to pick that thing up quite a bit. The Paradoxical Outcome. The fact that it doesn't untap becomes much less relevant when you're just picking it up and putting it back down. Chronosphere here for Justin. And will this be enough to seal out the game? Or Evoker stopping Mana Vault? Now Trinisphere hindering Dave's development. Just one blue or red mana. And from here, there's the Overload card again. I'm going to take a look at my phone and see if I can look this card up. Ravager sacrificing those artifacts, putting them over to the factory. Giving him a 5 mana or 5 damage beater here. 4-turn clock. Traxos, along with a 5 damage Mistress Factory, could close this out super fast. Paradoxical Outcome gets the ball rolling. And yeah, Vandal Blast would be the card. Destroy target artifact you don't control. Overload for 4 in a red. Shattering Spree, taking out Traxos. Wastelanding, the only blue source here for Dave. Will Justin actually get there with this 5/5 factory? Continuing to beat down Revoker. That prompts a Force of Will with a high value card there in Merchant Scroll. Dave does not have the blue mana for it yet. And he may not have the luxury, even if he draws blue mana, to set things up. He may just need ideal cards off the top. Fetching down to 1. Mana Vault now in danger. It is tapped. Walking Ballista. Super dangerous when you're sitting at 1. Force of Wills shut off. Future fetch lands shut off. Snapcaster, Vandal Blast, Soul Ring, and a Chump Blocker in play now. Fear of Resistance. Sending blocked. Dave at just 1 life. Can he get anything else in front? Treasure Cruise. One of the few cards that could actually help him here under the sphere. He'll need to draw into most likely a blue source and something else. What does he have? Volcanic. Brainstorm, the number of outs decreasing now. Is that an Empty the Warrens? That would be bananas if it's Empty the Warrens. We've seen Treasure Cruise and Brainstorm. Two cards back. It is an Empty the Warrens. So 6 goblins. What does Justin do here? He can swing, potentially just trade in for 5 of these tokens and hope to draw really anything over the next 12 turns. If he sits back, getting hit for 5, then 4, then 3, that adds up to 12. That's no bueno. Dave declines to become the beatdown here. Foundry Inspector comes down. Repeal bounces the Sphere of Resistance. Didn't actually catch how that Mana Vault became untapped. I'm assuming Dave paid 4 mana for it. And now Narset starts digging for another Narset. Dave at just 1, hanging on here. Paying a blue for Gataxian Probe, seeing a Karn Great Creator. Luckily, Workshops can't cast that card. Flavor-wise, he is kind of an artifact, but that is not how Workshop works. Probably one of the only I don't even know if you can call it a drawback. It's just a thing you can say about it, is you can't cast Karn off of Workshop. Ancient Tombs. Potentially going to tap to cast this Karn. Pair of them. Doing 4 damage to Justin if he does tap them. So he's taking a look at his sideboard first, figuring out, does he want to commit? Goes for a Sphere of Resistance. Stand up and swing. And it looks like we're going to see some chump blocking happen here. 2 and 1, leaving with just 3 tokens left. Dave going to be using Narset all out from here. Got Narsets in hand. He can cast once he's exhausted the loyalty of the current ones. Paradoxical Outcome. Bouncing a ton of permanents here, despite Sphere of Resistance. Dave still with 3 tokens. Despite being at 1 life, potentially in okay shape. Recasting all of his artifacts. Playing a Mana Crypt, we've got to expect is not going to end up hurting him in his upkeep, and we see Grape Shot taking it down, so a ton of Storm. Following up that, we finally get to see a win condition, a legit win condition from Dave there, and that was a crazy match of Vintage. I hope you guys enjoyed that one as much as I did. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.